Yosef, you had a name for today? Liel Dina Bat Ephraim. For Ilui Nishmat.
15-year-old girl that was killed by drunk driver 2 years ago today.
Liel Dina Bat Ephraim. Shem Yishmor. Shem Yishmor. Okay, we also the month of Tevet, sponsored by the Englenoff, Leilui Nishmat, Avram Chai ben Yosef Shimon, and the week by Zava Englard, Norman Shapiro in honor of their sons, by Brandon and Eliza Beer for the Yortzeit of Shira Rivka Bat Elchanan Yitzchak Zichron Livracha, and by Sharona and Ben Zion Blank in honor of their son Tzvi's offer of this past Shabbos and his wedding tonight, Baruch Hashem, to Emuna and Armon. Emuna Armon. Brandon, we just mentioned the name. Shifka Rivka Bat Elchanan Yitzchak. And for the Chassan for tonight, you know who he is. He's the sweet guy. He davens for the Amid here a lot. He's this really young kid. He wears a bekisha, he wears a gartel, he has long pants, he sits in the back. Big yeah. Beautiful guy, yeah. Yeah, he's getting married tonight. Yeah, he's a great guy. Also, one more important thing, I just can't, this is a name I'm probably never gonna, I have to verify, but the first name I could definitely never forget. We were, met this Yid from Be'eri this week, that, his brother is a Gibor Yisrael that was, after 7 hours of battle, in Be'eri, he ran out of ammunition, and he saved tons of lives, and the Yimach Shmamim ended his physical life in this world, in the famous Mir Pa'ah in Be'eri. There was a whole story what happened in the Mir Pa'ah. It was I think it was a dentist's, office. Anyway, I haven't processed that trip at all. I'll maybe share it at a different time because hasn't begun to even go inside what the eyes saw, what the ears heard, and more importantly, what the nose smelled. This is something that I've never experienced before in my life. Is it on? Off. Yeah. But his brother's name was Shachar. His last name was Tzemach, Shachar, Tzemach. I don't remember the mother's name. For now, Shachar ben Sarah, because this Yid was giving his wife instructions while she's in the house, in their home, and he went out to go fight on the roads of Be'eri, and he's giving his wife directions how to block the mamad door with the fridge and all these things, and he's saving lives. And none of us have processed anything yet, nothing. But I'm thinking about him nonstop. His name is Shachar. His name was Shachar Tzemach. So Shachar ben Sarah. So there's a lot more to see on the Inyan, and we're running to light. We're going to Or. We're going to go and continue to journey this journey of Tikkun HaMedina, fixing the Medina, which needs such a crucial need for Tikkun. It's not to be believed. But we're up for the task. We have no other izdamnut, we have no other efsharut, no other possibility other than fleeing. But we're here to try to figure things out. You see on page Chaf Beis, do you see where it says L'chatchila Ariber? Daf Chaf Beis. It's Rav Ginsburg's Tikkun HaMedina, Matzah Ma'aseh Al Pi HaKabbalah. So, today we're going to be learning a very important... Does everyone have pages? Does anyone need? There should be plenty on the table. Yeah, continuation of Monday's teaching. These are for you guys. You could hold on to it, and if you want to, write notes on it, and that's all good. We have to learn a very basic concept in Kabbalah today, but to illustrate it, I'll give you the greatest example that I can. That I moved to Eretz Yisrael when I was 9. From Los Angeles, and I lived here from 9 to 16. Then at 16, my family moved back to Los Angeles, and I was more or less in Los Angeles from 16 to 22. I was already into all this, this stuff at 16. While I was in high school here, I already, started getting into, when I say this stuff, this stuff, But when I went back to America, I was still in high school. I was it was a very bizarre, weird tkufa. It was middle of 11th grade. And even though I remember my friends that I knew when I was a kid in Los Angeles, when I moved back at 11th grade, I couldn't relate to any of the people that I knew growing up, because those years, 1989 till 1996 here, where basically you went through Oslo and you went through, you saw it, funeral after funeral and bus bombings and suicide, like Hashem Yirachem. So coming back to Los Angeles, I could barely, even though it's like my childhood friends, lo היה לי שום דיבור איתם. I could barely talk to them, to any of them. So who would I hang out with? The chevra that were much older. The more the hippies. Because at least with them I was connecting on like more spiritual stuff, like the hippier chevra, right? The problem is, hippies in Los Angeles, right? It's a different, well, I don't know if you know, like, that, Never, Azriel's family is from there, the hippie, a lot of your Abba's friends were from there.
Age one, I'm here, so I don't know.
Yeah, but what you saw plenty in your life of what I'm about to say. Bidyu, what I'm about to say. Orot de Tohu. This is the concept. Orot de Tohu. What does that mean? It means a lot of people with a lot of light and zero vessels. Right? A lot of light. People that the world would write them off saying they're crazy. They weren't crazy. They just didn't have any idea what to do, how to implement, how to be an olam hazeh with all the light that they were connected to. Orot de tohu, right? What's tohu? Chaos, right? So orot doesn't. The normal person would look them on the street and be like, this guy's gone. They're kmurim. It's not. It took, because of Rav Shlomo, I was privileged to realize that the chevra in front of me that the world is writing off, yesham mashu, there's something there. They just have very little ability to put things to harness it. There was nothing really there, right? So there's a concept in Kabbalah that's called oros de tohu, bekelim de tikkun, and vessels are in the world of fixing, olam hatikun, the world of fixing. Now, I'm going to try to explain this to the best of my ability, even though it's a very deep concept, but if we're trying to really plunge into the light of what we have to do over here, we have to realize this thing is like very, very yesodi. What we have to do right now, the light that we have to bring into the world right now, is coming from a world of oros, of a larger world, much bigger than what we see in front of us. Because with what we see in front of us right now, right, what we have in front of us right now, we have very little to work with. And we have so much to do. Like, does anyone think that another kiruv in Achdus Shabbaton is the fixing of the Medina right now? Even saying those words is like funny already, right? We need to draw light from a place that olam hazeh is still strange to, it's still foreign to. Now, what happened when we received Eretz Yisrael again? What kind of or came down to the world? Orot, lights from a different planet. What kind of vessels were ready for this light? Think about it. What kind of vessels did we place to receive the light of coming back to Eretz Yisrael?
We didn't. Broken.
Even if we did, they're very, very small lights that couldn't really contain what it means that the Jewish people came back to Eretz Yisrael after 2,000 years. So we filled it with as much military, right, force as possible, because we were still in an ongoing battle to just maintain survival, nachon? But the avodah really is figuring out this concept called orot de tohu bekelim de tikkun. This is a very, very important piece. It's a very important piece. And Rav Ginsburg is going to show us a sicha from the Rebbe that's going to help us understand what the actual avodah is right now. Yeah.
Or the tohu is like it's a negative thing, or all the lights are or the tohu?
Azel, very good question. Because it sounds like it's tohu, so it's a negative thing, right? Like there's a whole chevra here that I have, and they know I call them the tohu chevra. They're my best friends, but when I go to I did a chuppah of one of them. He's like the chief of the tohu chevra, right? I saw more toes at that wedding than I've seen in any gathering before.
Toes?
Yeah, no one was wearing shoes, meaning there was like, everyone was.
It was the middle of the winter.
So it was really tohu. It was like really like the tohu chevra, right? And these are the biggest neshamas. Honestly, I'll be very, very frank. Okay, I can to a certain extent, I feel so much more at home with them than a lot of the places I generally find myself spending time with, because they're thinking big. They're it's expansive mindset. They don't get stuck in shallow ideas and shallow concepts. But at a certain point, the tohu chevra, they're beautiful, but even that chevra is at the end when things are really, really, going fallen, they come to the kelim chevra to try to figure out to save their lives. And some of us grew up in certain communities and areas that was basically a whole world of orod de tohu. And the chevra that left that world, it's because they just wanted kelim. They just wanted kelim. They just wanted to be in this world, be able to be here and make something for themselves, and to hold on to dear life. Right now, Rav Ginsburg is going to show us. This is really an important way of understanding our matzav here. We came to Eretz Yisrael in Chodesh Iyar, right? We've been focusing on the month of Iyar, the Yom Ha'atzmaut and Yom Yerushalayim, Chodesh Iyar. And there's a second chance right now for us, every single day, but especially now, to figure out how to create a new world where there's a mizug, where there's a merger between the oros of Olam HaTohu and Kelim of Olam HaTikun. The world we're in right now is called Olam HaTikun. The world higher than this world, even before this world was created, based on the Kabbalah, is called Olam HaTohu. What happened in the world where there was so much light, but there was not enough place to contain such light? There was an action that happened. What was that called? Shviras HaKelim. That means the shattering of vessels. Shattering of vessels. And then light only started to trickle in from that higher world into what the world that we're in right now, that's called Olam HaTikun. And that's why I keep on saying that you think we have high moments right now in this Olam HaTikun. We ain't seen nothing yet, because we still have to work. The Geula status is the harmonious merging between light that's coming from Olam HaTohu, the world that couldn't contain before there was Shviras HaKelim, into the Olam HaTikun, creating vessels in the Olam HaTikun. I have a good friend in Beit Shemesh. Every time I ask him how he's doing and things are good, he always says the same things. Oros bekelim, oros bekelim. That means things are good. We're experiencing light in the home, and there's a vessel to contain it. Like, that's the ideal. Orot bekelim, light within vessels. Now there's plenty of more to expound upon this. And the Alter Rebbe has so much to say about this, and the Rebbe spoke about this, but when the Rebbe was starting to speak about Geula more and more and more, he came back to this concept, and he made some very clear comments that are directing us to what the Avodah needs to be here right now. Because it's clear to us here that unless there's a whole ashpa, this whole new world of or that's coming down into the world that we haven't experienced before, together with the vessels that we are so connected to already being here, we're just going to continue to get confused over here. More and more and more confusion. So we have to understand that the avodah for today is to attach ourselves to a light that our door and our people here we have yet to experience, and it's being dragged down, nimshach, drawn down from what's called olam the to, like the world of to, the world before this world. Shviras HaKelim. When someone says they're Shvirat HaKelim, what does that mean? They lost their mind? No, it means that they're not able to contain how all the things that are going on in their head. I had to explain this, just one more dugma. I had a Rebbe he comes to daven with us. He used to come more often. He lives in the Dekel, Rabbi Schrader, Rav Menachem Schrader. You know Rabbi Schrader? In Shir, sometimes I would sit with in Shir, and I see he was trying to give over to us very, very, very strong teachings from the Gemara, just explaining to us a sugya that in his head all the light was there. It all mounted up. It was all adding up. And I saw the pain on his face as he was trying to convey that to us in Kalim. In his mind, in the world of his mind, his private olam of or, it all added up. I would see it all. Do you remember this? Do you remember? You ever in the shir? I would see him trying so hard to give over what was going on clearly over here in the world of light, and sometimes it looked torturous. It looked torturous. It's a very interesting thing to see. Like sometimes a person could be so clear in their head, in their mind, in their world of light, right? But to be able to bring that out can sometimes, not by Chas Chalila, by Rav Shrader, but by certain people, it can cause what's called Shvirat HaKelim, that the vessels just shatter, because the vessels aren't strong enough to contain the light that it's trying to hold. I would say that on a certain level, this country has experienced a continuous Shviras HaKelim since the moment we came here. Have we been able to contain the actual light of the Jewish people returning home after 2,000 years? Did we even understand in the first place what that actually really means? Like, what does that even really mean? Maze? What does it mean? So, let's see now how Rav Ginsburg will guide us to understand this essential piece in our journey and attempt to play a role of the tikkun that the Medina needs here right now. Remember, Chavre, it's easy to write the whole thing off. It's easy to just say, Kulam po reshaim, Kulam po tfukim, Kulam po nochlim, everyone's a thief, everyone's a con artist, everyone's a meshumad, everyone's a kofer, everyone's erev rav. It's so easy to say that. So what are you left with? You and a few Chavre that have made clear declarations that it's all rotten. And now what? That's not the way of the Baal Shem Tov. The way of the Baal Shem Tov, like we said last week, on Monday, is ripui be'or. Healing with light. With light, we're going to figure out how to do this work. כשמתבוננים במציאות נוכחה, ועורכים השוואה מפוקחת בין המשאבים העומדים לרשותנו, לבין המשברים בפניהם אנו עומדים, לא ברור מהיכן נדלה את הכוחות הדרושים לנו. Rav Ginsburg says, when we take a clear look at the mash'av, how do you say that? The sources. No, there's a better word. Mash'avim. Resources, right? When we take a clear look at the resources that we have today versus what we need to do, we realize, wow, we're nowhere close. Like, it doesn't look like, where are we going to receive the light where are we going to receive the real resources that we need to fix this door? Right? So someone will say, no, it's all in place. There's a Beit Mishpat Elyon, right there, you lost me, right? There's a Bagatz, right there, you lost me. There's a Knesset, you're making me really depressed, right? Meaning, what do we have today that can answer and provide the kli for the or that we actually really need? And we wonder, like, where are we going to receive the koach from? Like, where are we going to go to? Who are we going to go to? אומנם כאן באה תורת הקבלה ומלמדת אותנו שגם אם על פני השטח, כפי שהדברים נראים, אין מקור כוח שיחלץ אותנו מן הסבך, ישנם עומקים ומקורות עוצמה שעדיין לא התחלנו לחשוף. Rav Ginsburg teaches us, based on the Kabbalah, that even if on the surface it seems like what we just said right now, and that there's nothing to get us out of this svach, and that's what many people feel when they look at the reality that's in front of them, the truth is there are great depths and sources of power that we haven't yet tapped into. They're here. They're beneath the ground or above this, whatever it is. They exist. We just haven't tapped into it yet. המציאות שלפנינו רבת פנים היא ויש בה יותר מן הנראה לעין. There is much more than meets the eye. We could say this on a personal level. Sometimes you look at someone and you say, wow, nothing goes in, nothing comes out. This guy is just a stone. There's nothing going on over here, right? And maybe the whole tikkun of Eretz Yisrael is that, Moshe Rabbeinu thought that he was talking to a stone, and he ended up hitting it. And our whole inyan is to realize, even in things that seem like it's an absolute rock, absolute stone, there's something deeper going on beneath the surface. And in a lot of conversations that I'm having with people that are trying to do something good, what everyone's feeling now, anyone that's trying to work beneath the surface is saying, no one's a stone right now. Like mitoch from the am, from the leadership. This is bedrock. There's nothing. I'm not even talking about that. From within the am, within the people, everyone's realizing there are reservoirs of depth that people have never been tapped into until now. And it's happening. It's happening. It just sounds and it looks different than what we're used to, but it's happening all the time. Mevuar b'Kabbalah, let's understand this. Mevuar b'Kabbalah, she'ha'olam nivra b'shnei shlavim kolelim, the world was created on two general stages. Hamechonim, olam hatohu, that's what I said before, the world of chaos, the olam hatikun, and the world of fixing. So when does the world of fixing begin? What do you think? When did the world of Bereshit, right? It's also alluded into the word we said on Monday. What's the first word of olam hatikun? Bet, meaning this is the second start. Bez. Olam hatohu hakadmon hayat tzurat kiyum rabat otzma. The world of tohu, this world that we keep on referring to, was a tremendously powerful, existent world. Shenoada likrisa biota bilti yetziva. But it was the most unstable world, and it was destined to collapse. Hakrisa, this collapse, mechuna b'Kabbalah, shvira sakelim. That's what in the Kabbalah is considered the shattering of vessels. Shechen metziuto v'kiyumo shel olam bnuya al yecholto leachil betoch kelav et ha'arat oro shel haboreh. He's saying that the reality and the existence of the world is basically built upon its ability to contain within it vessels that can do what's word. The word is hachala. Hachala means lehachil. That means to contain that which it is, not that which it is, that which it has in it, right? If it can't contain that which it has in it, what will happen? Anarchy. It breaks. It collapses. Again, I'm going to say these darts throughout the whole shir. The way things have been going for 75 years in this country is an ongoing shvira sakelim over and over again, thinking that we've built enough vessels to contain the light that's called Yidden coming back to Eretz Yisrael after 2,000 years. And I'm not talking about the non-religious world right now. I'm talking about Dafka, what's called the Olam HaTorani, the religious world. That's under the assumption that the way we establish things is large enough to contain the light of what it means to actually come back here after 2,000 years. You understand? Yeah, more or less? Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's only called chaos to the Kli, but really the light of Hashem is not chaos.
Chalila. Beyachas la-Kli, very good. It's very important what Israel is saying. The light, it's not orot deto, meaning it's bad light or chaotic light. What's the right word? Beyachas? In relation, thank you. In relation to the vessel, it's considered that.
That answers your question that you had in the beginning, Israel, right?
Which?
Yeah.
What?
Was it bad light?
Bidiuk. No.
Just that we can't hold it.
On the absolute mamash contrary. No, it's mapitom.
I'm saying it's only called Torah.
Beyachas.
Bidiuk. It's Or Hashem. I'm saying in English it sounds horrible. Chaos, the light of chaos. Hashem's chaos.
No, but even in Hebrew, like tohu is not a geshmak like Shabbos dika. Yeah. Tohu vavo means tohu vavo. It's this orot that come from the world that resulted in tohu. Why? Because there was a shvirat hakelim over there. But you have to understand something obvious. Hashem knew this was going to be like this, right? Hashem knew this was going to happen. He didn't think that there would be enough vessels in Olam Hato, right? He knew that it was going to be a shattering of vessels. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. It's not like Hashem made a mistake. Oh man, I put too much light here and then the whole thing collapsed.
So it's still part of the plan now, till today, or no?
100,000,000,000 achuz.
Then what's the problem?
We have to look at it like this. We have to keep on looking at it like this. Nachon?
If it weren't this way, there would be no development.
He's going to explain what would happen if it wasn't this way. Bidyuk.
Yeah.
Bidyuk. So again, שכן מציאותו וקיומו של עולם בנויה על יכולתו להכיל בתוך כליו את הארת אורו של הבורא. ושבר במציאותו של עולם, when there's a break, when there's a shattering in a reality of a world, משמעותו שבר ביכולת להכיל. That means there's a shattering in one's capacity to contain. Same thing with the marriage. It's the same exact inyan. People that understand what it means that a man and woman are joined together to create a world and bring in the souls in the form of bodies, but they're not filling the kli of the house with light, of course it's going to collapse and break. It's the same thing. We tohu of a house. Doesn't mean that what they brought into the house wasn't was in the form of a marriage and children was chas v'sholem bad. It was the holiest thing in the world. But what vessels are you putting into that home? And so there's a shever. So there's a collapse. Meaning we have to keep on going back to the analogies that will help us understand this on a personal level versus a national level. Always. Like we were talking a lot about on Monday, in the last year. שבר במציאותו של עולם משמעותו שבר ביכולת להכיל, הגורמת להעלמת אור מציאות הבורא יתברך מבריאתו. Do you know what a shever, you know what happens when there's a shattering of vessels? What do you feel instantly? Huh? Helem. Hiddenness. Where are you, Hashem? You always go right away. God, where'd you go? How could you abandon me? Like that's the result of that's how it manifests. When there's this shattering, the immediate question is, where are you? Right? So it happens to us all the time here in this country. Where are you? So like, wait a second. You came back to Eretz Yisrael after 2,000 years. More light came down, an abundance of light came down more than ever before, probably since Bayit Sheni, right? Vessels, you think that having Bob Dylan play in Sultan's Pool was like part of building the vessels of this country called Eretz Yisrael, or getting into what's called the Eurovision and singing a song and representing Israel is considered the kli for the or. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Or the fact that the Tel Aviv, unfortunately, on certain times, is the international headquarters for the hefech gamur from the word gava, right?
Vegan?
Huh?
Veganism?
Veganism is the point.
No, it is the headquarters of vegan also, so I was just throwing
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. That could be, yeah, but that could be, that could be a schmuck. I just don't think that's the whole tikkun, you know. Again, like all these things, right?
There was actually a video, I don't know if you guys saw it, of a chayal who was sitting down with two reporters and saying, people asked, where was God October 7th? And he said, well, he was there. Where were we?
Oof.
And this is a non-religious,
Wow.
completely non-religious chayal.
Wow, what a
I
line.
don't keep Shabbat. I don't keep nothing.
What a line.
People are, he was there, whatever, fighting, and people asked him, where was God? Where was God? He said, oh, he was right there. Where were we?
Wow. That's a... send that, אם אתה מוצא את זה, תשלח את זה.
See if I can find it.
Wow. Okay, so let's, fourth line from the bottom of this paragraph. עם קריסתו ושבירת כליו של עולם התוהו הקדמון, החל תהליך של תיקון. From the moment that there was a shviras hakelim of this previous world, Olam HaTohu, from that moment where the vessels shattered, a new process began. And what's that process called? Tikkun. Olam HaTikkun, that's the world that we're in right now, and that keeps on happening to us. And in this world, what happens in Olam HaTikkun? What are we busy doing? Bo nivnu kelim chadashim. New vessels are being built. והסדר הטוב והנכון החל להיווצר מחדש, and proper order begins to be placed. תהליך זה יוצר את עולם התיקון. This process provides for us the seder of the world of tikkun. What didn't he say is happening in Olam HaTikkun? He said definitely that there's vessels that are being produced here to contain something. But what doesn't seem to be happening as much in Olam HaTikkun naturally?
The light's more contracted. You can't see it.
Hester. he'elem, the contraction of light, is harder to it's harder to detect, and it's harder to see.
Similar to when you have the Shvirat HaKelim?
Nachon. It's an ongoing process. But what happens to us is that when we're so mishuabad, we're so enslaved to the process of just building kelim, what do you lose sight of? You could have thousands of shuls that people are so proud of the vessel that they built, and you walk in there, and it's Choshech Mitzrayim. Sorry. You understand? I'm trying to bring it down to such levels that we could relate to, right? You could have places where the vessel was built really in order to contain godly light, which means hisgalus, revelation. And in those places that are meant to be headquarters of revelation, because the vessel is so strong, what's going on inside of it? Nothing.
You're saying it's supposed to be hidden when the people? What did you say? I missed that.
But due to the nature of the shvira, it's hidden. The job is like this. Not just that because we're in Olam HaTikun to build stronger vessels, but to not forget for a second why you're building vessels. L'shem ma is everything so misudar over here. Just l'shem being misudar, just to feel proper, just to feel inadequate, just to feel proud of a structure? Or do we build vessels with a constant drisha to say, okay, Hashem, this vessel is here, now here. This is a vessel. Now fill me up. Here, Hashem, here's a vessel.
So it's not
fill me up.
supposed to be hastara? It's supposed to be begilui?
The hastara is there, mitmachmas metzius olam hatikun. Right? The hastara is there because of shvirat hakelim. Our job over here is to remove hastara, is to remove ha'alama, is to remove concealment in a way that I can hold on to it and contain it. The vessel that I built here, I have to keep on reminding myself why I'm working so hard on being a mensch, building vessels all the time. Right? That is the seder of things. But what I'm pointing out is that sometimes we get so caught up in being so proud of ourselves that we've built such strong vessels that we forget what the purpose of building a vessel was even for. The purpose of building a vessel in this world is only to come to Hashem and say, you have now there's space there's more space now for you to remove more hastara, to contain more light. That's the Seder HaDvarim. That is not exactly how that's not exactly how things have been unfolding since 1948, Tomaskim. Yeah.
That's the challenge of human beings anytime, all the time, because that requires a letting go of the sense of security about what one has and what one knows and what one is used to.
Of course.
So it's the whole process that is expected here, that is necessary.
You know what
It's not just figuring out how to do it.
You know what dvekut really means? Like dvekus, that we always speak about? Mm-hmm. It means that the me that I know is going to show up to shul or wherever I am, and I'm going to get out of myself. I'm going to get out of myself and say, here, Hashem, I just want to be close to you. And I have no real idea exactly what it's going to look like right afterwards. But that late state of vulnerability is generally where we run away from that all the time. Because we need to know exactly what it's going to be like, what we're going to look like. You know what they say about the Kotzker Rebbe? When he finished davening, they say this about the Kotzker Rebbe, when he finished davening, it took him like 15 minutes to remember Bichlal where he was. They say, I remember the stories about the Vorker Rebbe, maybe the Bobover Rebbe, is that he looked different after every time he went to the mikveh before Shabbos. Like he looked different. Like he was open to saying, listen, if I'm really open to I'm working so hard all week long on a vessel in this world, so I can mekabel pnei Shabbos malchus, then I go into the mikveh before Shabbos, and I'm fully in, and saying, Hashem, now pour your light on me, So he actually, some of these tzaddikim actually started to look different because they were just completely mevutal to the light that Hashem wanted to place inside of them. That's vulnerability, shebekdusha. And this is the tension we have of like trying to make sure that we're all ala kalka, we're all here, we're in this world, we're very much in this world, we're building, it's the chule. However, what's the point of all the building? What's the point of all the kelim? It's only for one thing, to contain more of you, Hashem, in this world. And I don't know exactly what that looks like afterwards. You want to say something? I want you to say something, but whatever.
Can I just give a small...
No.
Two things I want to just point out that I think are important to think about. We say that the world of Tohu preceded this world. And I might not have the vessels to explain what I'm thinking, but I don't know if we should look at it in a timeline. That there once was a world of Tohu, and it collapsed, and then there was the creation of this world. But that it precedes us conceptually, but not in a timeline. I like to think of it as that the world of Tohu is always happening, conceptually before everything that's happening here, but it's a constant thing. There's a constant breaking of these vessels and descending of light into this world.
Chashuv.
Another thing that I just, like an easy way to look at it, I think, the light's the light, right? If you're saying b'yachas l'zeh, the light's the light. But the world of Tohu is a place where the light is so powerful, it's so ideal, but the vessels are weak, right? So it couldn't contain the light, so it shattered. All that shattering of the light came down and descended into this world. This is a world where the light's here, but here the vessels are huge and thick, right? So the light's the light. The light's here, the light's here, the light's there. There the light's shining in this most chaotic, ideal way. And the light's here, but it's totally hidden because the vessels are so big and covering it up. It's hiding it, it's concealing it, it's klipa, right? So it's like, it's the same thing. It's just here everything's hidden, and there everything was just overly revealed. That makes any sense.
Shekoyach. And the job, and like we said before, the whole nisayon that we're trying to do down here is merge both worlds in a manner of what the Rebbe is going to explain to us in a second. Now you could come and think and say, well, why Hashem? Why did you create it like that from the beginning? If you know that it was noad l'krisa, if you knew that it was just going to be, destroyed. Very good shred. Is there a problem that there's a chaos? Hold on to that thought for a second. Let's see how Rav Ginsburg takes this, because there's a lot of ways to go over here. Especially in Chabad, when you see the Chabad thinkers, you see they take this concept. There's a lot of different. They all get to the same conclusion, but there's a lot of different paths in order to understand these very fundamental questions. So it's very good what you're asking. So Rav Ginsburg, I feel like Rav Ginsburg is talking, but whenever he teaches, he's like, you're looking at someone that's experiencing right now oros me'olam hatohu. Because, not for him it's all in kelim. But for the person that doesn't have the kelim, you're saying, wow, this is just wild, This is just what, they had to drag him off the stage in Binyanei HaOmah a few weeks ago at 1 a.m, because they had to shut the lights off there, and he started at 8. It started like 8:30, right? So my friend called me, his driver, and because I had a question about like when did he actually come up with that gematria that Vani Eftach Bach is gematria Hamas, right? Remember that? I think I shared it with some of you. Yeah. So he said, it happened while he was singing the nigun Vani Eftach Bach. Suddenly those numbers appeared to him like that, right? Then the driver said to me, I said, well, what was the drive like back? For like an hour and something. He's like, no, we couldn't talk too much. He was busy downloading more, and the guy's sitting in the back typing all the stuff that he still wanted to continue give up on stage. Meaning, you understand, for the guy that's sitting in his world, right, I don't even know, like, we don't understand these concepts of the light revealed, concealed. But for the person down here with the kelim that are, so limited, or so covering over, it's like, it seems like it's all tohu. For us, it's all tohu, right? But it's all light. Zachi chashuv. Now, like we said before, Briat ha'olam ha'tov, God creating this world of tohu, shenidon merosh likrisa. It's not that there was a mistake It's not like, God realized I put too much light in here and now it's collapsing. This was part of the plan, how it should be from the beginning. Meaning, a collapse of the vessels, the shattering, is embedded within the creation of the world. It's not like there was a mistake and then things started to break and now we're trying to fix things. He says, Lo hayta chas v'shalom larik. It wasn't God forbid for nothing. Hashlachotea mashpiyot aleinu bitchumim shehem me'ikarei chayenu ba'olam hazeh. It's a hashlachot. How do you say hashlachot? Ramifications? Probably, right? Consequences, ramifications are things that are influencing us in many of the areas of what is vital for our life. Next page. Reshit. Chavayat hashvira, the experience of breaking, where what happened, like we said before, Hashem went to go play hide and seek. That's really what breaking is. Banit alma mitziut boreit barach mibriato. Hi chavaya mechonenet, traumatit. That's an absolutely traumatic experience. That time, the moment in life where you say, where were you? Where are you? That's a traumatic experience. That moment in life, right? That moment in life. Where are you? Like we have that a lot. Like chas v'sholom, everyone should have shalom bayis, but like where you think you're doing the best that you can or whatever, and then like it just all explodes. At that moment, it's a traumatic experience. What the voice inside is saying is, where are you? Because there's hiddenness. No one knows what I'm talking about, Baruch Hashem. I just wanted to hear those.
No, it's not that. You don't say, where are you?
Right? No, the question, see, what's the tikkun for that? Oy, efo ani? Where am I? That's the beginning of the real tikkun for that. But our natural place is to go to, where are you, Where were you? That's why what you said is so profound, what the Chayal said. Oh, where were we? Where were we?
Isn't that the challenge of the concept of B'Tselem Elokim? That
of course.
That's when we should turn up.
Of course.
Yeah.
So this again, היא חוויה מכוננת טראומטית בדרך להתאבות עולם התיקון. On the stages of healing, of ripui, there are traumatic moments in life that eventually will look back when we are in the place of healing and we'll point with our finger and say, oh, that's the trauma that actually got me to start going to where I am now, right? If you look back in life. I'm a big chassid of going to 12-step meetings and you hear a lot of times in these meetings that person that said, I'm looking back at the trauma of rock bottom and I realize if I didn't go rock bottom, there's no way I would have ended up where I'm sitting, the chair that I'm sitting in right now. You can't say that when you're rock bottom. I mean, you can, but it doesn't mean anything. But these traumatic moments end up being the things that then say to us, oh my God, of course, thank God there was a Shvira Sakelim. You can't say that when you're in the Shvira Sakelim. You don't say that when you're in the Shvira Sakelim.
That's what we can say about October 7th in the future.
Amen. And about the Shoah. There's a Torah from Rav Shlomo that you just reminded me of on Parshat Miketz. It's so deep. And it's such a chutzpah Torah because it's hard to say it, and I would never say it in front of my grandmother, but he says that the reason why Yosef HaTzadik named his son Menashe is that the Torah says there, Kinashani Elokim is Kol Amali, right? Which means that He removed from me, He made me forget all the hard stuff I had to go through. So Rav Shlomo said, what does that mean? Like he would want to forget all the stuff he went through? And why would he want to forget all the stuff that he went through that led him to where he is now? And Yosef HaTzadik didn't seem like a person that... So he said a gewalt thing. He said that Hashem Yisbarach blessed me with forgetting the painful part of meaning how much it hurt me. The fact that these things happened, I never forget. But when I look back at my experiences in life, I don't feel the same feeling of pain I did while I went through it.
The betrayal from his brother.
B'diuk. I know they happened. Mm-hmm. So then Reb Shlomo said like this. He said, there'll come a time that a Yid that went through Auschwitz will remember that Auschwitz happened, but he won't feel the agony, the stench of hell, right? So the trauma, meaning it's still there, but the activating buttons of what it did to me when I was going through it live don't activate those buttons to me anymore.
Kiviyachol childbirth?
Well, that's why a woman has to bring a korban after she gives birth. You know that, right? One of the reasons why a woman brings a korban after she gives birth, Mefarshim tell us, is because she swears while she's giving birth that she's never ever doing this again. Right. The Gemara speaks about this. Rashi brings it down over there. Right. Then she brings a korban because, that's the mitzias of this world, nachon? That trauma, right? So sometimes the trauma, if I'm still holding on to that trauma, I'll never kiviyachol give birth again, whatever that means, right? So, anyway, so let's continue. Vehi goremet, when the second line, Vehi goremet lemetziuta shel efsharut habchira chofshit. You know what else Shviras HaKelim causes? Rav Ginsburg says, you know what really enables us to have bchira chofshis, to have free will? Shviras HaKelim. Meaning when there's such an abundance of light, I may be basking in the light to a certain extent, but what don't I have? Free will. I don't have any free will. So he says, actually, Shviras HaKelim, this shattering of vessels, enables me to actually have bechira chofshit. So he looks back now and he says, Ota tofa'a shehi lichora kishalom benefila. This thing that seemed like it was a whole failure, kishlon benefila, he hechrechit lekiyum mirtzano shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu limloch al am she'akir bo mirtzano. This is actually a necessity in order for God to reign over a people who choose from their own bechira to be under God's servitude. Meaning, there'd be no bechira chofshis if I was able to just stay in olam of oros b'tohu, because the light would be so, what's the right word? Overbearing, overwhelming. So this Shviras HaKelim enables me to actually have a choice to say, the entity called me, I'm actually choosing this. I want this. This is what I want. So again, this is another important inyan of understanding the ramifications of Shvirat HaKelim. Listen, for anyone today, after October 7th, to say, Ani bocher liot po. Ani rotze liot po. Ani rotze liot evet shel Hashem po. B'makom hazeh. After such hastara, is such a moment of hamlachas Hashem in this world. It's making Hashem melech much greater than however Hashem was a melech for us before. Nachon? Right? Do you understand? Mm-hmm. It's like the trauma itself leads me to a decision that brings such kavod shamayim in the world that couldn't have been pre-trauma, right? It's hard to say these things, especially now. It's very hard to say these things. It's always hard to understand these things, but we try not do it in a way that it could sink into us. That's why I'm going very slowly with this. V'shenit, and this one more thing. Kol otam orot adirim v'nifleim she'iru be'olam hatov lo avdu min ha'metziut. Even though there was a shattering of vessels, and even though there's a concealment, all that light, that godly, infinite light that seems to have gone into concealment, they didn't disappear from reality. They're here, they're just hiding really well. And we have to remember that. B'shviras HaKelim, now let's give another word for oros de tohu. Let's come up with the word. What kind of emotion inside of you connotes oros de tohu? Like give it,
idealism.
Huh?
Like idealism.
Yeah.
It's like an idealistic light.
Idealistic light. Give another more down-to-earth concept that we could relate to more.
Indescribable.
Huh?
It's actually indescribable.
But try to give a describable light that would trigger an emotion. That's what I'm trying to do over here.
I was thinking more like ennui, like this desire to existential anxiety, like wanting to do more but not having the ability to do anything about it.
And
The opposite. Maybe I'm totally off.
no. So it's good you're saying it's not that.
Hope.
It's not that. More than hope.
Missing Hashem.
But in a good way. Missing Hashem still feels like I'm I'm saying like, what does orot the tohu mean? What kind of feeling what kind of emotion would that bring up in you if you were basking in that light 24/7?
Ecstasy.
Huh? Ecstasy. Ecstasy is probably the best. Huh?
Hot light.
Hot light?
Hot light.
Is that like a drug in the 50s? You guys were hot. David, here you go.
No, but ecstasy.
You got some right. Hot light. I never heard of that one before. No, David, what did you actually? What did you mean?
You said about the image, right?
Oh, the imagery, yeah.
That's the imagery I came up with.
How about
Because heat you can feel, light,
yeah, hot and inviting, like yeah, just
tangible.
yeah. Listen, we're trying to do the impossible right now. Of course, I'm just trying to bring it down as much as possible over here.
Talking about the tohu.
Euphoria.
Right?
We're talking about
Huh?
Euphoria.
Euphoria. Euphoria. Yeah, you know where I felt that one time in my life, and like mamash naturally. You ever been to Camp Simcha? You know what Camp Simcha is? Camp Simcha.
Camp Atzmus.
You've been to Camp Atzvos? I want to tell you about Camp Simcha is the shtickle Mashiach in this world in the most unfortunate, backwards way. It's a camp for kids that are terminally ill with cancer. You been there? Mashu. I used to go and do concerts there when I was... You worked there. So the first day I was there, I took a walk in this magical garden, and I was hungry. I was thirsty. So I wanted to get a drink, and I was like, "Oh shoot, I don't have any money." So the guy that was giving me a toy, he's like, "Hey, check this out. Just hit the button." I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, try it." And I hit the button, and a can came out. Because it's not a.
Hey,
Yeah, it's just, and I know this is such a Gashmi thing right now.
That's cool.
But do you understand what it did to my mind? I walked around for a few minutes. I was like, can you imagine if somehow we created a world that it actually works like this? Now, of course, there'd be problems with bchira and everything, but sometimes you get these tasters of what this looks like, right? He's saying over here that this oros of Tohu, lo avdu me'olam, they're in the world. They're just concealed. B'shviras hakelim hitpazru, second line. B'shvirat hakelim hitpazru nitzotzot min ha'arot halalu b'toch ha'metziut. Even though the vessel's shattered and they're hiding behind some really deep rocks, the sparks of them have scattered all over the world. Uka'et hem metzuyim betochenu, and some of these sparks are where they literally found deep inside of us. B'ma'amakim.
You can never find them or see them or anything.
Not true.
Even if you reveal them and fix them and say a bracha, you still...
No. Hasidus believes, actually, the Baal Shem Tov believes that you can find them and work with them in this. In fact, that's the whole avodah of us, in finding them and working with them in this world, in Olam HaTikun, to the best of our ability.
It's the Ishbitz story that you shared yesterday.
100%.
I'm saying, you say a bracha on a cup of coffee. There's nitzotzos there, you uplift them.
He's
You did
not-
the tikkun.
he's
you
talking
didn't see
at-
nothing, you didn't feel nothing, you don't know nothing.
He's talking about much more than that. That's an easy example.
Within you.
Within you. You're talking about coffee. You're talking about objects outside of you. But the avodah is in you. Remember the sign that they had on the door of the yeshiva of the Maggid of Mizrich? Like that was the one yeshiva. If there was one yeshiva I've ever dreamed of going for one morning's man, it's walking in there by the Maggid of Mizrich's table and asking the person next to me if I could borrow a Gemara. What's your name? Oh, Levi Yitzchak. But maybe he has a better Gemara for you. What's his name? Oh, his name's Shneur Zalman, right? The Alter Rebbe, Kedushas Levi. But that guy in the back over there that's just looks like he's flying all day long, he knows really where the Gemaras are. What's his name? Brother Z. Zusha. But his brother, you see him, he's Dvekas, Mincha time, you see him for 3 hours. What's his brother? Elimelech. You had these cats on the same base medrash. What was the sign on the door going to the Maggid of Mizrich's shul? Yeshiva. We're not here to teach you anything that you don't already know and have. We're just trying to get you to find it within yourself. Yeah, I think like the greatest dream in the world, if we had a similar sign when you walk into Shirat David, everyone comes in on a Friday night and we say, we're not here to impose a new derech. All we're trying to do here with the dveikus that we're trying to bring out is to just direct you to that which you already have and already know crystal clear. So again, I just want to finish this paragraph. It's already late. וכן מצויים בתוכנו במעמקים וממתינים לחשיפתם ולתיקונם. These oros for Olam HaTohu are waiting. Right now, in all of us, there is light that is waiting to be discovered and to be brought into a world that it could actually do something with in a kli. This whole land, this whole country is filled with the light that's waiting for Yiddelach to discover and to use in the proper way and the right way. Not, I don't want to say totally, but not so much the way that we've been using it until now. HaKadosh Baruch Hu lo viter al kochot ha'chaim ha'adirim shel ha'tohu. God didn't despair on this tremendous, powerful light of Tohu. Velo shalal otam min ha'biriah legamre. And he didn't remove it from, he didn't revoke it, he didn't remove it from creation completely. God could have said, forget it, I'm removing this, try to do the best you can. Ma'agar ha'koach hazeh omed lirshutenu. This deep, powerful headquarters of koach, it's there for us. וממנו אפשר לשאוב ישועה לכל משברינו וחולשותינו. And if we find a way to go and tap into the oros of Tohu and bring it in for it to work and conduct itself here in Olam HaTikun, it's an answer to all of our crisis, any crisis that we are in, and any weakness that we find ourselves struggling with. Im rak neda ketzad lishtamesh bo. But we have to know how to use it. Now, one of the fears that many people had over the years was that, and it was a valid fear, and that's why people stayed away very much from Olam HaKabbalah and Chassidus, is that those people that knew how to access this type of light would manipulate it. They would manipulate it. They would use it in a manner that would just bring them more koach, because this is the most powerful stuff in the world. Now, Baruch Hashem, that's not what I'm not nervous about that happening right now, and about any of us. That's not the scare today. But you understand that this kind of talk is saying to people, like, you realize, you have the magic wand, you have the answer to. And the crazy thing is, though, the only way that you could actually gain access is by relinquishing your power, relinquishing your gaiva. The only way that this comes to you is actually through hachna, through anava. It's the only way that you could actually gain access to such powerful light. Which in the world of kalim, it's the other way. It's the other way. How do you build larger, things and lafuch? So I'll just end with what I shared.
The is what gives you the anava.
If you're smart enough to realize that that's exactly the process, exactly. The shvira guides you to realize, this is how I'm going to be receiving it again. And, I just have to share this last thing with you, and I talked about it with Yossi yesterday. Eretz Yisrael is called Eretz Knan, right? Knan is Hachna, right? And we're, at least to a certain extent, I've seen this so much right now, and I've seen it for years, but definitely right now, with the chevra that we met in Be'eri. Now, these guys, this kibbutz was founded in 1946, was it? 46, 47? Some pre-state, right? And we went to daven mincha, and there's actually a shul there, which is actually odd, because it's not exactly, it's not the place that you would ever go for Shabbos, put it like that, right? And there was a book in the shul that I saw called Sefer Sipur Bekneset Be'eri, a whole story about the kibbutz, this shul. So I opened it and I started reading about the history of the shul, and they had a vote on it to actually have a shul or not in 2007.
Wow. They didn't have a shul before 2000.
No. And there was a vote of the chaverim of the kibbutz. And it was 160 versus 116. It's not a simple thing. Bichlal, right? I took a picture of that document. I'm looking at it every day. Now, huh? Yeah, Chetzi Tzelev Lucho. That's very
old.
That's very traumatizing. Yeah. Anyway, that's all right. I just want to keep my train of thought. So, the person that was giving us the tour is a Ben Kibbutz there, and I can't explain to you what it is, but it's not like I'm trying to sound cute and sweet when I tell you I feel like he's so holy. It's not like a nice... I'm not trying to be... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No. He has something that I don't have at all. And what is that? He's an ish adama. He's a chaklai. This guy, and you see his midot, the way he lives, his being is, he doesn't have an ounce of gaiva. He's just a different breed. It's like he's not caught in a lot of the stuff, other stuff that I get caught in, or others. And I was thinking about it, I was like, what is it that he has that I want? Because I don't want to have a life without you, Hashem, the way that I know you. I only want deeper, right? It's because he's an ish adama. He has invested his physical being into the adama of Canaan, the land itself. When you are invested in the land itself, building the land itself, it machnias you. It does. He's also a person that happened to tell us that 10 years ago he chose to start thinking for himself ideologically and not to stop thinking about the way that he was raised. And he said he went over to the right wing 10 years ago, which is very, very rare for a guy like that. And I see now Jeremy has the hechsher to continue listening to the rest of the story, right? I love you. So, I mean, but actually it didn't, for me, that it didn't even matter. Like that's not, when I was looking at this person, like, what are these people made out of? What? They're totza'a yeshira of the shvira, but it's all subconsciously. It's not a conscious decision to do it. This is who they are. And I feel like there's such an openness right now of a tikkun on so many levels of or that can only come through hachna. Anyone that thinks that right now is the time, hey, people are vulnerable, let's go and get them with Shabbos and get them with Torah. I don't subscribe to that at all. It's not the way I'm thinking and looking about Am Yisrael right now. It's, let's offer them the beauty of, let's try to explain to them deeper what's going on with them on a soul level and invite them more, but let's humble ourselves before them and say, can you give us, please, what it means to be merged into the land and the levels that your 3 generations of family have been merged physically into this land, into the soil, producing crops, producing all the stuff we've been intaking. How much percentage of what happens down there is what we're eating from? And 75%. Lo stam. These things, nothing is stam right now. But anyway, we're going to continue from here next time. Hachna and anava, as a result from Shviras HaKelim, is the method that we are going to continue to use to fill the vessels with light, to continue to do good things. Shkoyach, everyone.